Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a normal game, and this is not going to be anything too crazy. We're just going to have a relaxing game here. And you might think that that's like a sarcastic game title, or a title that's made kind of as a joke, but no, this actually is kind of a relaxing game of TFT. So nothing too crazy here, not any kind of wild strategy that you're going to see. Just some good gameplay from a game that I went through and enjoyed and figured I'd go ahead and put on YouTube so we could talk about some of the changes that took place in this most recent patch. So one thing that not everyone might have picked up on, because the TFT developers are so bad at spreading the word on this, there was a B patch this week. So a little minor balance tweak patch in between the normal weekly patches. And essentially what they used that patch for was to nerf a bunch of stuff associated with the Imperial trait, which was really dominating games at high elo, because there were just too many people playing Imperial and having a ton of success with it. So basically what was happening was people were re-rolling for Imperial. They were doing Sween reroll, Talon reroll, Samira reroll, and really hitting any of them was at 3 stars was just way too strong. One of the things that we had talked about on the Sula Discord was that Imperial as a trait didn't really work, but it had just gotten buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed over the course of this set until it became oppressive. So in this B patch, they nerfed it. Alright, as far as what's going on in this game, I am not looking to play an Imperial game. I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to play. I had thought maybe could play Chemtech going into this game, but I haven't really seen Bruiser champs or Chemtech champs. Instead, I've ended up with this Ezreal. And my items are just fantastic to have Ezreal here. I took a bow off the carousel. I immediately got a glove. I was like, all right, well, Last Whisper, that feels pretty good on an AD champ. And then after that, I get a sword from the next carousel. So this is really like just ideal for the early game if you're going to be playing through some kind of AD champ. My favorite early game holder of AD items is Ezreal. And the reason for that is because he's pretty easy, generally speaking, to 2-star as a 1-cost unit. Generally speaking, you usually can find a 2-star version of him. And with the scrap trait, he can get like a very high value item out of the scrap trait. So like in this particular case, he has a Last Whisper on him already. Then I added a sword on top of that. So he's going to roll a scrap sword item, and like almost anything he rolls is going to be good. So like if he actually rolled Infinity Edge on that last minion round, so that's not bad. You know, Infinity Edge Last Whisper, pretty good. And in addition to that, you know, he could roll like a Deathblade, he can roll, I don't know what else, like a Bloodthirster, like just about anything he rolls is going to be useful. So it's the value of getting that extra component on Ezreal early in the game is really, really nice. And if you can 2-star him, he actually carries quite hard, not just through stage 2, but also through stage 3. And I already have 2 out of 3 Ezreals. I had thought about putting in the Samira here, but I was like, I think what I need is a little bit more frontline, not a Samira to do more damage. And you can see in this fight how my lack of damage lack of frontline is kind of the problem. The other team also has an Ezreal, but they have a full Innovators board, and they've already gotten a full item out of their augment. They took the augment that gives you a free item, so that's giving them a bit of another additional early game power, and I do not have enough to overrun the Innovators board. So a little surprised by that. I was kind of like, huh, you know, I thought my board was relatively strong, but I guess I'm just not as strong as that one. So I thought maybe I had hit like one of the strongest people in the lobby. Now I also do need to mention what augments I'm running. I am running the Hyper Roll augment. So if you've watched the videos on this channel, you've probably seen me use this augment before. This augment says if you have less than 10 gold at the start of a round, you gain 2 additional gold. And I believe that the creators of this game were intending you to use it to like stay at low levels and hyper roll for 3-star units. It's really not ideal to be played that way. And the fact of the matter is that's because if you want to like hyper roll for, like let's say you want to hyper roll for like a 3-star, I don't know, Twisted Fate or a 3-star Twitch. There is actually a build that's based around 3-starring Twitch. The best way to do that is to Lust Streak through stage 2, get up to 50 gold as quickly as possible, and then slow roll at 50 gold, because it generates a lot more income by being at 50 gold than it does by being under 10 gold and making use of the Hyper Roll augment. So you really don't want to do that. By the way, here I'm going to go ahead and sell that Ziggs. Because I have Yordle trade in, I will get more Ziggs and use the extra income to pick up Taric. And the reason for that is Taric is going to give me a Socialite Spotlight that's in a very nice location, back center. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, we should play this unit. So I'm not going to play him for right now, but I do think he'll be the next unit in. He will even give me another rank of Enchanter along with the Lulu. And for a second there, I accidentally had 2 Ziggs in instead of Lulu. But yeah, so we've got Yordle Trade-In, that's going to feed us income. We've got Hyper Roll Augment, that's also going to feed us income, as long as we're under 10 gold at the start of a round. And then I also have Scrap In, which is giving Ezreal a free scrap item. I did 2-star him, so some good RNG there, to be clear, to get the 2-star Ezreal. And then I have Blitz in for a Bodyguard trait along with Poppy. So my board's pretty strong right now. I'll just go ahead and pick up the Trist as well. And I'm feeling quite comfortable at this stage of the game. Like, I think that my board is very strong. Hyper Roll has allowed me to level super aggressively, like I'm already level 5 on 2-3, and I'm going to try to go to level 6 as quickly as possible as well. So I just think that Hyper Roll is really, really good for the early game. And it's not bad for the late game either, but it's better for the early game to be sure. You should be able to get out to an early win streak if you have this, just because you can use it to play additional units. Alright, so now it's time for me to pick an item, and of course I could go for the glove there. That would make Infinity Edge Last Whisper, but I don't really need to pick that up because remember, Ezreal gets a free scrap item every round anyway, so it's not that high of a value on like completing his second item. Because he's going to get he's going to make a component from that every single round anyway out of scrap trait. So it kind of makes more sense if I just go ahead and take a defensive item and start building up my front line. I also make a mistake here. I sell the Ziggs. I should have just sold the Trist because I'm not playing Trist. Then I'd have 2 out of 3 Ziggses. And I'd be a little bit closer to Ziggs 2-star. I mean, that's not going to do that much, but it's still going to be better than nothing. And I also should go ahead and use this component that I have here, the Chain Vest. There's the reason why I took it. I should just slap it on one of my frontliners. Probably Poppy, because Poppy's going to be out of this comp later on. But, you know, I'm level 6. I'm level 6 on 2-5, so, you know, that's pretty early to be level 6. You would not want to do this without Hyper Roll Augment. But I do have Hyper Roll Augment, so I'm guaranteed to keep getting additional income. I get that 2 extra gold for being under 10 gold, so I can use early gold to level really aggressively, get to play additional units, get extra traits in play, and with the 2-star Ezreal, with the Last Whisper and, you know, another sword item rolling on scrap, I'm just kind of cruising here. I feel very comfortable. I mean, look at that other person I just hit. They're level 5, but they have no gold in the bank too, and they are not playing, Hyper Roll Augment. So I was like, that situation does not look quite as good. Doesn't look quite as solid, but hey, maybe it'll work out for them. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I have noticed that the person I hit the very first round, it was GIAO the Shy, the person who's playing the Innovators board. That person has won every single round, so that also made me feel a little bit better. I was like, okay, I did think that my board was pretty good in the first round. It's just that I kind of hit the strongest person in the lobby in the very first round, which is a little bit unfortunate because it stopped me from getting out to a win streak. But on the other hand, it's better, if I'm going to lose a round, better that it's the very first round, so then I can go on a win streak after that, as opposed to having it happen on like the 3rd round, and then I like win 2 rounds, lose a round, win 2 rounds again. So if I was going to lose a round, better that it's the very first round. Anyway, this person I'm up against cannot get through my front line at all, so it's just an absolute slaughter. And I win 6-0. Like, I have 6 units alive instead of at the end of the fight. And I do 11 damage. That is a lot for stage 2. Like, you do not want to take 11 damage losses on the very first stage, because this is about as bad of a loss as you can possibly take. So yeah, really, really good stage 2. Lost that initial round, won all the others. And most of them were not especially close in terms of the rounds we had there. By the way, look at the early Oud here. I was like, oh, okay. That's kind of interesting, but I can't really do a whole lot with this early Oud here. In fact, I actually have to dump more gold into leveling. Yeah, see, I want to try to get up to level 7 as quickly as possible. I should have enough gold to hit level 7 on stage 3-1, which is super early to be level 7. And once that happens, I will have to change up my econ strategy a little bit. This is something I didn't do in my initial Hyper Roll game, but I'm going to demonstrate here. The ideal way to run Hyper Roll is to get to level 7 as quickly as possible, but after you get to level 7, to try to econ back up to 50 gold. And I'm going to demonstrate how I do that in this game, which is kind of the other reason why I wanted to use this video. Now my items once again are just fantastic. Really could not be much better than what I get here in this round. So I get another glove. That's going to allow me to make it Infinity Edge on Ez. And then I get a bow. So now he's going to roll a scrap item bow, which is again just crazy. So I can't quite get to level 7. And part of the reason why I can't do that is I actually have a lot of gold on my board. Like I have 2-star Poppy, 2-star Ezreal, 2-star Lulu, and I also have a Taric on my board. That's actually quite a bit of gold invested on my board. So I can't actually get to level 7 this round, but I will hit it at the start of next round. So I'll just dump all my gold into leveling, and I still have that extra Taric in here. If I can't find anything else, I can always just play a second Taric, but I'm hoping I can find something better. All right, look who I'm up against. I'm up against the same person I hit in the very first round of this game, the GIAO, the Shy, who has not lost a round yet. But the good news is I think I'm stronger than this person. Ezreal's also rolled a static shiv, which is just fantastic. Really, really good item to roll, especially in the early game. So I'm able to win and end their win streak while continuing my win streak. So that went about as well as it can possibly go. And look what I get here. I find a Janna, and I'm able to put Janna in, and my board is just absolutely chilling at this point in time. 4 scrap, 3 enchanter with Yordle's bodyguard and the socialite spotlight in a usable spot for my 2-star Ez. Janna is just fantastic. She gives me 4 scrap, which is going to give me extra shields. Here, this early in the game, having that big of a scrap shield is going to make it very difficult for any low damage comp to kill my units. And Janna also even gives me another rank of enchanter. So again, just awesome, awesome stuff. Having Lulu in, now I typically don't play Lulu a lot, but this is just a really easy chance to play her. I have her in there for Yordle trait, and I hit the 2-star version really fast thanks to having Yordle trait in. And then I've got Janna for a rank of enchanter, and like, look at what we do to this person's comp. We do 13 damage to this other player. This is one of the reasons why if you're really strong in the early game, it can be worthwhile to sacrifice some econ to just be super duper strong. Because of course you keep winning rounds. I'm going to go ahead and take weak spot here, which is again fantastic for my comp. Like by continuing to win rounds, you're not only of course maintaining a win streak, feeding more gold into your back pocket, but you're also putting more pressure on the lobby, and that speeds up the pace of the game. It shortens the game. And it makes it so it's harder for other people who are behind to come back. Because like in each of these rounds, I'm doing like 11 damage, 12 damage, 13 damage to other players. That's knocking a huge chunk of health out of the game. It makes a big difference if people are losing rounds and taking like 12 or 13 damage, as opposed to if they lose and take like 5 or 6 damage. Again, it's shortening the game, getting people out of the lobby faster. So again, if you're ahead, it can be worthwhile to sacrifice economy to do this. Now, the good news for me is I get to have my cake and eat it too. I'm not really sacrificing economy because I'm on a full win streak that gives me 3 extra gold per round, and I have I also have the hyper roll augment, which is giving me that +2 gold. So I basically get gold equal to if I had 50 gold in the bank, as long as I'm continuing to maintain my win streak. Oh, and I also have Yordle trait too, so yeah. Plus I have Yordle trait as well, and that gives me extra income as well. So remember how I said this was a relaxing game? I mean, there's a reason why this is a relaxing game. It's, this is a pretty good high roll game, although I do think I've been making good decisions in this game as well. And it's just kind of chilling in most of these fights. This one's actually somewhat close because Ezreal got popped by the Shaco at the start of the fight, but most of the rest of my team is still alive. I still have like, what, 5 units alive? And so they're still on it. And they're going to be able to win against that person who's running the all-for-one syndicate augment. So it's time for another carousel. I would not mind getting another defensive item. I feel like my front line is kind of sketchy right now. I think that my Ezreal is pretty amazing, but I don't really need to get a last item on him. What I really would like is a front line that's stronger. So I'm looking here, I'm like, I don't really need like a Sunfire because I have weak spot that's going to reduce healing from the other team, but that Chain Vest wouldn't be bad, so I'm hoping I can get it. And I don't know if that other player thought I was going to take the sword. I was not. I wanted to take the Chain Vest for a Bramble, and it's actually there on a 3 gold MF, so I was like, alright, that looks pretty good to me. So another thing I have to mention, look what I've been doing on my bench. I've been stacking some additional champions on my bench for the last couple of rounds. Like I put a Zac, a Mundo, a Shaco. And the reason why I was doing that is I was essentially banking gold by putting these champions on my bench. Like I was making sure I was under 10 gold But now I don't have enough bench space to do that anymore. So look, I sell all of them, and I go instantly from being at under 10 gold, where Hyper Roll Augment gives me 2 extra gold, immediately up to 30 gold. I'm never at 10 gold, I'm never at 20 gold. I jump straight from under 10 up to over 30. And this is really what you want to do to maximize income from Hyper Roll Augment. This was not something I did when I initially did a video about this augment, but this is the ideal way in economy terms to play this. Again, get to level 7 super quickly, then start holding some expensive champions on your bench, and then jump up to 30 gold at once. There's usually not enough bench space to jump from under 10 up to 40. Like, there's just not enough space on your bench to get there. But if you can, then of course that would be even better. Alright, and then look what I'm going to get here. I'm going to find a Jhin. So I was like, alright, I'm going to hold this Jhin. I'm not going to play it over Ezreal. The 2-star Ez rolling a free scrap item is definitely better than having Jhin in right now. But I will hold the Jhin. And then I noticed there's a Sion in the shop as well. So, okay, Sion, I could play Sion frontline. Sion did get nerfed in this most recent patch. Not the B patch, but in the most recent patch. And, so he's a little bit weaker than he was before. They increased his mana cost. I think his mana cost was like 170 or something like that, and then they buffed it up to like 200. So he attacks a little bit less often, which is a big deal because remember he has Protector trait, so every time he attacks he gets a shield, or not attacks, uses his ultimate. Every time he uses his ultimate he gets a shield. So he's definitely a weaker unit, but obviously still great frontline. The general rule with Sion is worth playing if you can 2-star him. More questionable about playing him if he's only 1-star. So that's the goal. And once again, I win this round and deal like another 12 damage to somebody. And some of the people in the lobby are getting pretty low because I'm putting such a big hurting on them round after round after round. I mean, we have people at 41, 40, and 39 health. And again, a lot of that is because I'm inflicting such big losses on these players. Like I said, speed up the lobby, speed up the pace of the game. Don't give people time to scale up. I am keeping an eye on that other comp, the GIO, the Shy, because that person has, they've managed to find an Innovator emblem. So they do have the possibility to play 7 Innovator if they want. And this kind of confirms that I'm not going to be looking to play into Innovators myself. I did have that option, but, you know, with that person taking Innovator items, not Innovator items, Innovator champions out of the pool, there's less incentive to try to put them in. Alright, so I get some interesting items here. I get the pieces of a Morello's. And I also get this spatula. Unfortunately, I don't really have a comp that really uses spatula especially well. There's not really any traits I'm looking to make from that spatula. So I was thinking, all right, I do want a Morello's. I have weak spot, so it's a lesser priority, but it's still probably the best way to use the belt and rod in this team comp. And then if nothing else, I can always, I guess, make like an Academy spatula out of that, or Academy emblem out of that spatula. Which is not really good, but like if I could find Yumi or something, or if I could play Leona, then I could have like one other Academy user. It's not especially great, but maybe I can do something with it. I mean, the best use would be find another spatula for a Force of Nature, but, you know, we'll see what we can turn up. I probably will not find another spatula. This Challenger's comp is a little bit scary, but the good news is we are able to punch our way through. And I guess that person's playing Mercenaries, but their board does not look especially strong for Mercenaries. And look at this, I find another Jhin, I find a Braum. I was like, all right, well, I guess I can play Braum at level, on my next level up. I could always just sell Poppy and replace it with Braum. So I'm kind of waiting to see if I'm going to hit Scion or if I'm going to hit more bodyguards. And it's like, if I hit a bunch of bodyguards, I'll play them for frontline. If I hit 2-star Scion, I'll play that for frontline. I'm also holding the Heimers because Heimer, of course, will give me Scholar trait if I put him in. And I guess I could go to level 8 right now, but I honestly thought my board was strong enough that I could still win these rounds, even while not being level 8. So, on we go in this game that's been really shockingly easy. Oh, I also should comment, you might have noticed I put the Morello's on Poppy. Poppy is a horrible user of Morello's. I mean, just a horrible user of this item. But she's going to be sold later on, so I decided that I'd just put it on her. Similarly, looks like this person... Oh, there we go. This person's playing Challengers. They're only level 6 though, so I don't know what they're doing with that. And then look at this. I get another Jhin, and I was like, okay. I've just naturaled into Jhin 2-star, so this game really going well at this point. Also, the video seems to have frozen here for a second. I don't know why it's dropping frames. All right, there it goes. Again, this is pre-recorded footage, so I can't fix that. And now I'm trying to make my board right now. So unfortunately you can't see what I'm doing here because the video is cutting out. But I go ahead and I just put in the Jin. He doesn't make any traits, but I have to feel that having 2-star Jin is pretty good. And then I sell the, what was it? I sold the Ziggs to put in Heimer just to make Scholar trait. This does cost me 4 scrap, which is a bit unfortunate, but I feel that the scrap trait is going to be not quite as valuable. Here I'm up against someone who's playing a Lux board. They actually have a very strong Malzahar there in the back line, but we're able to cut through their front lines and do, what, another 13 damage to this person? Also, this person should really maybe consider rolling down because they're on 37 HP and they have max gold in the bank. Well, anyway, I'm sure that that person will be rolling soon and getting stronger. But again, look how low on health a bunch of these people are. What is it, 36, 23, 20, 10? Like, that is not a lot of HP on these players. Now, in terms of a tier, I really want the Jace. Of course, the Jace gets taken instantly. And at least that's good because at least the person who's playing the Innovators board is not going to get that Jace. As far as what I want, I don't really need anything necessarily, but I wouldn't mind a sword because now that I'm going to move out of Ezreal and into Jhin, I do want to finish that last item slot. So I can go ahead and turn this into Giant Slayer. So that would be Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Giant Slayer. That's pretty good on a Jhin. So I'll go ahead and take that. And now that I actually am level 8, I'm going to go ahead and transition my board. So Jhin will take over the Ezreal items. I see there's actually an Orianna in the store, so I'm going to look to play that. I'm going to take out the Poppy, and I'm planning on playing the Scion. I think that would be better. I'll put Ori in over the Lulu, and now I'm going to look to try to 2-star some more of these. I find a Yuumi, so that's better than Heimer. So we'll go ahead and make that replacement. You know, they're both 1-star, and now I find another Braum, and unfortunately I run out of time. I actually find another Jhin here, so I was like, alright, I guess I can hold that. So I'll go ahead and put my tank items on Scion. Looks like it's going to be a Scion game, because I'm very close to Scion 2-star, and I'm feeling a little bit better about having that unit than potentially having, like, Braum in there. Although I don't think Braum would be bad, necessarily. So now we've very, very smoothly transitioned into kind of our late game board here. And it looks like we didn't have any trouble cutting through those units on the front lines. I mean, look at Jin's items. He does 11,000 damage. He's just instantly Jhin 2-star out of nowhere. Also, I should have sold the Heimer there to get up to 30 gold. And then look what I find. I find Share the Spotlight. I was like, oh, okay. The Spotlight's actually in a good spot this game. And we're already playing Taric. So yeah, let's just run this and let a bunch of other units take advantage of the Spotlight. Then I find a Galio here. So I was like, I have to at least hold this. I'm trying to think what my late game board is going to be, and I was like, I think that the late game board is at level 9. We take out the Taric, and then we put in Galio, because Galio eats up 2 slots, but we have a higher level. And really what I'm just rolling for here is I'm rolling for the Scion 2-star. If I can find Scion 2-star, I'd be willing to just stop. And there we go. We find the Scion 2-star. So I was like, okay. And I also found 5 Jins, so I guess I have like some odds of getting Jhin 2-star, or excuse me, Jhin 3-star. I already have Jhin 2-star. I was like, all right, I've got 5 Jins. We might as well hold these units for the time being. So I'm going to position so that everybody is in the back lines, taking advantage of Share the Spotlight, except Scion. Scion's solo front line. And I've got Blitz in the corner to absorb any hooks that might be over there. Unfortunately, the hook is on the other side, so Ori has to eat it in this round. But as long as Scion can stay alive, you know, I'm in pretty comfortable shape. I just need him to stand there and tank for a little while Jhin shoots and kills everyone. And it looks like he's doing that just fine. Like, this person is the one playing the Syndicate board with All for One, but we're going to cut through that in no real trouble. Doesn't look like this person's really killed much of anything. And that's another 15 damage. So again, not only am I on this ridiculous winning streak, I've won 14 rounds in a row, by the way. Not only am I on this ridiculous winning streak, I'm also continuing to just do humongous punishing damage to the lobby. Now, I did consider playing Seraphine. I was like, would I want to try to play 3 Socialite? But then I was thinking about this, and I was like, no, when I go to level 9, I'm going to probably take out Taric, so I don't think I can get up to 3 Socialite, and I don't think it's worthwhile to play Seraphine. I'd rather play like Ori, Janna, Yuumi over these other champions. By the way, note that I spend my way under 10 gold again to get the hyper roll, get the additional 2 gold from hyper roll. So I'm going under 10 gold, and then what do? I sell all these champs on my bench that are just holding gold. So I don't think I can get under 10 gold for this round. So once again, we'll sell and we'll get up to 31. So again, we were under 10 and now we're back over 30 again. So I've got the pieces of a couple things here. I could just make an Archangels, which would certainly not be bad. But I decide what I'll do is I'll put a rod on Janna, so she'll roll a scrap item out of that rod. And then I'll make an Academy emblem on Oriana. Again, it's not going to be very good because the Academy units are not going to cast like a bajillion times. But it's better than nothing. I think it's the best way I can make use of this spatula item. And what is it? This round we're up against the Challenger board. So this board is not a great matchup for me just because my weakness is frontline, but we're still able to do like a bajillion damage to this person and keep putting a hurting on them. This was the person who really just butchered their economy. Like, I guess they were strong in the short run, but like they're level 7 with 0 gold. Like they never even made it to level 8. So I honestly have no idea how they managed to get Fiora 2-star and Yone 2-star while still just being at level 7. I guess they had good luck at hitting, but yeah, they're not going to get much stronger because they're level 7, 0 gold. They can't really get much stronger than they are at the moment. And in fact, nobody in this lobby really feels that strong. Like, I do see that person, this person with the Innovators board has the dragon, which, you know, you see the dragon, you're like, oh, that's scary. But like, if you look at what's actually on their board, there's really no damage in an Innovators comp. So I don't think it's nearly as bad as it might feel like. And I'm on 94 HP. 94 HP on a 15-match win streak. I lost the first round of the game. I haven't lost a round since then. And I'm just going to go to level 9. And then at level 9, we're going to roll. And hopefully we'll hit Galio 2-star. And then with Galio 2-star, we'll just, should hopefully finish out this game from there. Because I'm not feeling especially pressured by any of these boards. Like, this person has the Swain 3-star, but again, that got nerfed in this B patch, and there's not a lot behind the Swain 3-star, so we're going to knock that person out of the lobby and be pretty content with that. Yeah, I mean, we're already down to just 5 players in the lobby at this point. And by the way, don't look now, I'm up to 6 Jins, so shh, 3 more Jins. 3 more Jins for Jin 3-star. I didn't feel like the other players in this lobby were had especially strong boards. I wasn't terribly intimidated by the stuff that people were playing. So there's an Innovators board, and then there's 2 Challengers boards, and then there's the person playing Syndicate. So after the game was over, I went and looked at what everybody's ranked status was on LOL Chess, and it turned out that the people in this game really weren't that bad. We had 2 gold players, 2 platinum players, a diamond player, and a masters player in this game. So I was like, all right, it wasn't like this was a bunch of people that had never played games. This was a, pretty decent lobby overall. So I felt a little bit better after this game. I think I was high rolling pretty good, and maybe things just weren't coming together for some of the other players in this game. So yeah, this is one of the 2 people playing Challengers, and again, it's just not really close. Again, my weakness is my front line. If I can get a 2-star Galio in there, I'll be feeling much stronger. Because like Sion did die in that fight. But by the time he died, my whole backline had kind of already won stuff. So I wouldn't mind the Galio with the, the Giant Slayer, but my top priority has to be taking this Shroud of Stillness. That is overwhelmingly the best item that I can get here. Because of the way my team is clumped up for Share the Spotlight, I really can't allow anyone else to have a Shroud, if at all possible. And the fact that nobody took a Shroud is kind of a pretty big criticism of the players. They have to see that I'm bunched up on this Spotlight because I have Share the Spotlight, and they really should be looking to take a Shroud of Stillness because it counters me really hard by increasing the mana cost. Like, you can literally hit every single one of my units, I guess except Blitzcrank with the Shroud. So yeah, I'm pretty glad nobody took that, and that was a pretty big mistake. So remember that person, GIO the Shy, who win streaked all through stage 2 and beat me the very first round of the game? The only person who's actually beaten me in a round in this game. I noticed that they have a Zephyr on their Jinx. So I'm watching this and I'm like, all right, you're going to try to Zephyr my Jin? Well, guess what? I'm just going to sidestep here. And I was like, oh, I thought I was going to hit that person. I did not. But hey, guess what I do? I actually end up shrouding like 90% of their team. I think I missed 2 or 3 units, but I got almost everything. So guess what? Yeah, Shaco, you are not going to get your ultimate off. You are just going to get shrouded, and then Jin's going to kill you, and then Jin's going to kill everything else on your team. So this board is taking a little bit longer to kill because I believe they have, I think they have 7 Syndicate in on their board, and like they have Syndicate Bodyguard Tom Kench. Takes a little while to kill that unit, but we have the Last Whisper. We're shredding through their armor. We're cutting through all of the Syndicate resistances. And so going to knock another player out of the game and get us down to just 4 players remaining. Oh, and by the way, I finally hit 2-star Blitz, so okay. Took a little bit longer than I wanted, but we're finally hit 2-star Blitz. And yeah, so again, we still got the Jin, or not Jin, Jinx. The two champions I always get confused, always get mixed up. Still got that that Zephyr pointed at my Jhin on the other player's Jinx. And, you know, I'm just going to continue to hang out here, keep an eye on this unit, and at the last second, do the little swap-a-doo, so that it's not that unit getting targeted. But, oh, Ed, hey, it turns out I'm not actually up against that comp. I'm up against this Challenger comp. And, oh, by the way, look at what happens to the Yone. Yone is mispositioned. Yone gets hooked by Blitzcrank, and then he gets knocked up, and he just dies to Orianna. He literally does nothing the entire fight. So that's, I thought that was pretty hilarious. Yep, Yone has a Guardian Angel, but he does not have a Quicksilver Sash, and he just gets CC'd to death immediately as we knock that player down to 9 HP. I would not mind seeing that person out of the game because I don't think that I match up especially well against the challengers. The big thing is I'm solo frontlining Sion, so if anyone gets around the Sion, I'm a little bit weak, and that's kind of not the comp I want to see. Unfortunately, I think 2 of the last 3 comps are challengers, so I was, you know, not a huge fan of that, but, you know, I can't control what other teams are in the lobby. What I'd really like to do is just get everybody else out of the lobby before they have a chance to scale up much further. I would love to finish this game on 94 HP. That would be pretty funny. I also get an item remover here, so I'm going to go 9, and now let's roll and see what we can hit. So I find a Jace, and I'm really looking for Galio. I find a Tahm Kench, I find another Yuumi, I find more Tahm Kenches. I could play Tahm Kench 2-star. That might honestly not be terrible, but again, so many Tahm Kenches. I'm like, can I find more Galios here? Because I'd really like to play Galio. I do find Yuumi 2-star, so that's not bad. So I go ahead and I want to play the Galio. I make a mistake though. I sell the Blitzcrank. I should hold the Blitzcrank because I might want to play Galio plus Blitz plus Sion, which makes for a really strong front line. And in fact, I think that that's honestly what I should have done. Oh, and by the way, the irony. I spent all those rounds swapping Jhin so he wouldn't get hit by the Zephyr. And what happens? Yeah, the one round I'm actually up against this person, I hit the Zephyr. But I think that this was a mistake. I think I should have held the Blitz. I should have played Sion plus Blitz plus Galio and taken out Taric. Because I've got 2 ranks of the Socialite Spotlight, and that's not bad. By the way, 8 Jhins. Keep holding your breath there, 8 Jhins. But I think it would have been better to play Blitz over Taric here. Just because he would make both Bodyguard and Protector. And what's the weakness of my comp? It's frontline. The weakness of my comp is my frontline is weak. Because I just have the Sion and then I have a 1-star Galio. So I'm really disappointed I did not hit 2-star Galio. I only needed to hit 2, but I have not seen them at all. So who are we going to be up against this round? We're up against, oh, the person from the very beginning of the game, Gio the Shy. And again, oh, and by the way, apparently I get hit by this Zephyr as well. So I was like, what the? Oh, man. That was a little annoying. Should have swapped Jhin over to the other side. So that's a bit disappointing. And actually, this round's not going quite as well. All because Jhin got stuck on that Zephyr. So, oh, I was like, oh, I'm actually going to lose a round. Oh, the 94 HP dream is not going to come to completion. So that's disappointing. But that was really just being due to getting hit by that Zephyr. And then look what happens here. I hit the 2-star Jace. I was like, oh, all right, well, I'll just play 2-star Jace. But I think this is a mistake. I think I need to keep the... I really think that what I needed to do is I needed to keep the... I really think that what I needed to do was keep the Galio in there, because what happens is I put in Jace, but then I don't have another unit to play in addition to the Jace. I just have to throw in another Jhin. And I also should be frontlining this Jace. I need frontline. I don't need more damage in my backline. So I've actually weakened the Sion significantly by losing Colossus trait. So this is not especially well played endgame here. So what is it? I'm up against the Challenger player, is the only other player left. And like, look what happens. My frontline gets cut through. And it's really close here, but oh, I've still got the Jhin alive. I think Jhin can kill this board. So, all right, let's kill this Braum, and that'll be it. And then, oh wait, it's a ghost round. Ah! That should have been the end of the game, but it's a ghost round. Also note that note that there's a little something that I really did make a mistake on here. I could have had that spatula. I could have had a Force of Nature if I just held my spatula. But I don't get that, unfortunately. Now, the sad thing is, what is on that carousel? Oh, it's a Shroud of Stillness, and it went right for the other player. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. A Shroud of Stillness? Are you kidding me? Shroud? There's a Shroud on this person's board? Oh, come on. So, yeah, that is literally the worst possible item for me. And so this person immediately grabs it and you know, now they'll be able to drop in Shroud me, and I'm faced with either giving up, share the spotlight, or getting shrouded. I was like, all right, I guess I'll just stand here. But I also made a mistake here as well. I should have picked up the Zerat portal because that would have given me a little bit more frontline. And watch, they're going to drop in the Zephyr, of course. So yeah, I needed something to give me more frontline, not something that was going to give Jace more attack speed. And I should be frontlining the Jace. That's the weakness of my comp. I don't need more damage in the backlines. I need Jace providing more frontline protection for me. So again, I actually lose this round, and at this point I was really frustrated with myself because I really had not played this setup correctly. But I get bailed out, and I hit 3-star Jhin. So I was like, all right, well, okay. I guess we'll just play the 3-star Jhin, then, and we'll go from there. There's also a Galio now in the store, and I was considering, should I buy this Galio? So what I'm going to do here, I had the Jinx in there just for scrap, which, let's face it, scrap not that great. So I'll pick up the Galio here, and I'm going to put in Fiora, because Fiora is going to give me Enforcer trait. I was like, maybe Enforcer trait is going to be useful. That sounds like it could be good. But my Shroud is mispositioned. All the carries are on the left side. Sion's on the right side. This is terrible positioning for me. And the Enforcer just hits the Braum on the other team. So that's not going to do anything. And look what happens. My Jhin does nothing. 3-star Jhin, he does absolutely nothing. I was like, oh. So again, I've screwed this up. I'm honestly not happy at all with how I've played this late game. So what am I going to do? Let's get the Fiora out of here. Enforcer, the only thing Enforcer does is hits a Braum on the other team. So that's not useful. So let's get Galio back in here. Again, Galio was the unit I needed to play. Not playing Galio was a mistake. That's the unit I need. I should have stuck firm to my guns, played Galio, or alternately looked to play Jace up in the front lines in melee form. Again, lack of frontline is what's hurting me here. So I would have liked a tank item. Excuse me, like a tank item for Galio here. I don't get it. Instead, I've got, what is this? A Shojin, which I guess I'll put on Jace. And it's not like Jace has bad items. He's actually going to carry pretty hard here. But I don't need Jace to carry. I have a 3-star Jhin. I need frontline to protect Jhin for, 10 seconds so he can murder the entire enemy team. By the way, not finding a lot of Galios here. He's literally the only legendary unit I haven't found, so that's a little bit sad, but I certainly can't complain about my luck in this game. Still, the problem for me is this is just not the setup that I want. I probably should just give up the Socialite Spotlight, put Jhin in the corner, protect him over there, don't center him because he's not getting his attacks off. He's also getting Enforcered by the other team, so he gets Enforcered and then he gets Shrouded, and he doesn't really get a chance to get his ult off. Like, I think he got off one shot there and then died. So I guess it is good that the Jace is still alive because Jace actually ends up carrying that fight. So, alright, we won. I wasn't pleased with how the end of that game went. I think I misplayed the end game pretty badly. I think that I should have run Sion plus Blitz plus Galio. Ignored the Jace. The Jace was a bait. The Jace was not what I was looking for. And that was like the saddest 3-star Jhin ever because he just kept getting Enforcered and Shrouded in every fight, so he didn't get to do anything. I should have just put him in the corner, give up the share the spotlight, put him in the corner where he's safe, put him in the corner where he's not getting shrouded, and just let him murder everyone. Well, oh well. So a relaxing game. I was happy with the first 90%. The last 10% needed some work, but hope this was still entertaining to watch anyway. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. See you soon.